If you want it or not, the voices you hear in childhood turn into voices on the inside in adulthood. And if you're watching this video now, the voices that you heard in childhood that were imprinting you, that were forming and molding you, probably weren't all positive. They've probably been really harsh. It was criticism, it was verbal, maybe physical abuse that then turned internal and manifested as a relentless inner critic that is still abusing you today. And in this video, I want to talk about that this voice is not yours. When we talk about the inner critic, it's so crucial to understand that this is inherited. It is not you who's talking down on you. It is a part in you. It has manifested in a part of you, but it originated in something that came from the outside. And there's a 3-step process that you can use in order to dismantle the inner critic. But before we can get into the nitty-gritties of dissolving the inner critic, questioning it, and in the end, like relating to it in you and getting rid of it, I want to talk about 5 origins of the inner critic. So you really understand how this abusive voice within you has formed. So you can relate to it in a new way, and you use the tools that I'm giving you at the end of this video to end this inner voice once and for all. So the first origin of the inner critic is parental criticism. Maybe you've been in school and you've brought home grades that were either bad or either mediocre, and your parents, instead of motivating you to become better, or even say it doesn't matter if your grades are good or bad, I'm here either way, they criticized you relentlessly. Maybe everything that you did in childhood was not good enough, or was at worst bad, was at worst deserving punishment, physical or verbal. And what does it do to a child that is experiencing this abuse, this criticism, this feeling of I'm never good enough? It turns into a belief. And that belief is symbolized, is turned into a part of you, is turned into a voice of you that is constantly talking down on you, even in adulthood. It originated in childhood. And one of the origins is parental criticism. The second origin, and this is sort of the soil that the inner critic is growing from, is toxic shame. It's the belief that when you make a mistake, you are a mistake. It's the belief that everything that you are, everything that you feel, like a generalized form of relation, everything is bad, is inherently flawed, is inherently not allowed to be here. Toxic shame is like this blanket, this gray, heavy blanket that lays on top of your experience. And at worst, it covers everything, even the joy that you experience. There's always this relentless, sometimes more quiet, sometimes more loud voice that says, you don't deserve that. If you feel joyous, then this is going to be over soon, and it will be your fault. It's a dark, internalized, imprinted voice from the outside that, again, is not yours. And it comes from, and this is the third point, it also comes from abandonment. It's not always the things that happen to us, but also the things that didn't happen to us. When we felt unseen, when we felt unheard, and either our potentials or in our pain, when there was a cut in the relational field between me and my caretakers or the peer group or whatever space we've been in. If there's a cut happening, then we retract. We feel like we're not really there. We're not fully feeling like we're worthy of being related to. We feel like we're not worthy of being loved. We're feeling we're better off alone. And what does it mean if I feel like I don't deserve to be loved? Again, this belief is turning into a voice. And that voice, again, like a blanket, the blanket of shame, is lowering itself on top of all the experience. And it originates also in abandonment and childhood and all the things that didn't happen. when you've been unseen and unheld, when you've been crying, when you've been throwing tantrums because because something was deeply unfair to you and you were laughed at, when you felt grief, when you felt loneliness and nobody was there to really hold you, and sometimes even actively rejecting you, telling you to go to your room, that's not the place to cry, like big boys don't cry, and you need to be a big girl and stop crying, it's not so bad, all of these things. You've been abandoned. You've reached out your hand, but nobody was there to take your hand. You've been let down. So, the fourth point, and this is like kind of the basis of what I'm talking about here, the inner critic is modeling behavior that happen on the outside. It is learned. It is in the early years of development, yourself, your sense of self, is created through feedback from the outside world. So you learn to relate to yourself through relating to others. And the relational field between you and your parents or you and your peer group will determine the relational field you have towards yourself. And if that relational field is poisoned, if it's no ocean that you swim in together, if it's no lake that you joyously play in, but it's a swamp, a deeply dangerous swamp that you don't dare to go into, then that swamp pulls you down, just like the voice of the inner critic. It drowns everything good in the world, everything good about you. And believe me, if you're watching this now and this resonates with you, please believe me, you are good the way you are. You don't deserve to drown in a swamp of shame. You are beautiful. Even in the moments you deeply feel like you are not, believe me, you are beautiful. Even in your anger, even in your loneliness, even if you're craving for something else, there is so much beauty in you simply because you are human, because you are here. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, then it's this: the voice is not real. And we will learn how to cut the cord between you and this voice in the later part of the video. But it all starts with reversing it, with learning that this behavior is modeled and that it's not you. You are something else. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of growth. You are worthy of living a beautiful life. You are meant for more. Because, and this is the fifth point, the inner critic is a misguided protector. It tries to protect you, but it does that through a sense of false safety. Let's take the swamp analogy, for example. If the relational field between you and your caretakers in childhood was a swamp, then there might be a part of you, and this might also be an inner critic, that tells you not to go there. And what is the best strategy this part has to make sure that you don't go there? It's aggression. So it aggressively guards the swamp so you never enter it again. For example, as a child, if happiness meant abuse, if happiness was not allowed, or if anger was not allowed, if a certain aspect of your experience was not allowed and was punished and met with abuse, then of course a part of within you will establish that makes sure that you will never go there again, even if it means recreating the abuse. This is another perspective on the inner critic. And we will now look at a 3-step process in which you can reimagine the inner critic, in which you can change the relationship you have towards it. So the first thing you need to do is you need to notice when the inner critic is active. And most of the times we are blended with the inner critic. So the inner critic and my identity is one. It's really that I believe that I am bad. It's really like the voice is telling me that, and like my somatic experience is like pretty convincing, and I believe it. And in the moment I believe it, it's like the inner critic and me are merging. We are one and the same. There's no distance between me and the inner critic. And this is why I have a hard time noticing it, because I'm all drowning in the inner critic. There's no distance, because If, for example, I were to take 2 steps back from the inner critic, there would be a distance, and I could relate to that part anew. So we need to notice through the 5 origins that I just mentioned when the inner critic is happening, and really believing that this voice is not ours, it's inherited. So noticing is the first step. Noticing when you're internally abusing yourself, talking down on yourself. And the second step is to say no. It's of crucial importance to stop these automated thought patterns, these abusive internal monologues that are constantly rambling onwards. It's like this broken record player that is always repeating. And what we want to do is we want to take our hand and put it on the record player so the music stops from playing. The internal monologue stops from playing. How are we doing this? We are saying no. So first we notice, oh, my inner critic is there. And then we actively say, no, wait a second. No. A part of me knows that what you're saying is not true. And there you can feel like this healthy energy of anger and the willingness to defend yourself, to fight for yourself. Saying, no, I don't believe that. This needs to stop. This 1% within you that doesn't believe the inner critic, even as you're, and like my intention with this video is to instill this 1% within you, that the voices that you're listening to are not yours and that you are something else. And even if it's 1% of that, whatever is something else that you are from your essence that you can access, use it to say, no, I am not that. And then you can even see like what I'm doing here, even on a somatic level, is I'm pushing the inner critic away. I'm saying, no, wait a second. And I'm pushing it away. And what I'm doing here is I'm increasing the distance between me and the inner critic. And this is what we want to do. We want to unblend from the inner critic. And this is the third part. We want to relate to it in a new way. We don't want to push the inner critic away and like say that we want to get rid of it. We want to start relating to it. Because your inner critic has a story. Your inner critic has a belief system. Your inner critic, maybe, and this is like the 5th part of the origins that I talked about, maybe it's a protector that thinks it's protecting you through the behavior it's putting on the table. But it's not working. And it needs that healthy no, that healthy boundary that you put up within yourself that shows the inner critic, hey, wait a second, somebody else is here. I don't accept this. But I want to be curious towards you. Why are you even believing that? Let's say there was a voice within you that is constantly, for example, in this video now, let's say there was a voice within me that is constantly saying, oh, you're shit. You don't deserve to be in front of the camera. You're not that good explaining anyways. Oh, and did you listen to that right now? You were stumbling with words. You were stumbling over your words. That's shit. Just go, just don't do it. I could notice that, first step. I could say, no, whoa, wait a second. Why would I believe that? Is that really true? And the third step is not only to question if it's true, but to get in touch with that within you that is holding the belief, and that is usually a part. And converse with it. Start a dialogue. Start asking, what is your story? What are you trying to protect me from? What's so bad about stumbling over my words? Who cares? What if I'm okay? What if I'm still okay the way I am, even if I sometimes make mistakes? Who are you even? Can you introduce yourself? I'm curious. So you're saying that, you notice within me, I'm not all open-hearted and all bubbly. There's a healthy sense of very slight anger and aggression, not defensiveness, but the willingness to defend something that is worthy. And this is the thing. I believe that I am worthy. I believe that what I'm doing here is inherently good, and that whoever is criticizing me within me should put good reasons on the table. I don't just believe anyone that is criticizing me. I believe that there is something good about what I'm doing, wholeheartedly. And even if I make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. Beginner's mind. I'm not an expert on this. It's like my 22nd or something YouTube video. I'm not an expert. I plan to do like 3 to 5 years of this. I'm going to get better. Question your inner critic. Really reason with them. Actively wrestle with them. And that gets you out of the passivity, I think that's the right word, passivity that we often have towards our inner critic. We are like the victim of our inner critic, because the inner critic is putting a force, is putting a power on the table that we have no access in the moment. It's like the inner critic is putting that on. You know, if somebody's talking down on me constantly and I believe in, I'm shrinking. What do I need in that moment? I need power. I need to meet the inner critic with the same power that it's trying to rob me from, and the same power it is meeting me with. And this is the healthy no. Wait, no. No, it's like taking a deep breath in and saying no. You could do this even somatically. Like when you're home alone, like obviously don't do this in a subway, because then maybe another inner critic will show up that is like, what are you doing here? And maybe even like outer inner critics are coming that are saying like, bro, don't, like, it's kind of weird what you're doing, please stop. So do this like when you're at home or when you're on the restroom somewhere in public. You can really say loudly, no, stop, and imagine that your inner critic, that voice within you, gets pushed away. Stop. And there's a distance, like your energetic field, your master state is growing and expanding. And you're allowing the inner critic then you gain a certain degree of distance towards the inner critic. And in that space, the inner critic is here, you are here. And there's a space between you and the inner critic. And in that space, new relational quality can flow into. This is about relating to the inner critic anew. This is the third step. Dialoguing with them. And in doing that, you realize you are not your inner critic. This is an aspect of you, but it's not you. And because this is the way it is, the beliefs that the inner critic is holding, the things that it's saying, is also not you. It's a part of you that is believing that. It's not you. And if you're investigating, maybe the things that he's believing or she's believing are not even yours, are not even true. It's behavior that has been modeled, that has been taught in childhood, and that is now playing relentlessly within your head. And to make this experience even deeper, and to support you even more in dismantling the inner critic, I've recorded a meditation. So you can, on a somatic level, notice your inner critic, say no to your inner critic, and befriend, re-relate to your inner critic, and thus put your hand on the broken record player that is always like relentlessly repeating the abusive chatter within you. You don't deserve that. You deserve to live a meaningful, beautiful life, because whoever is watching you, I'm unconditionally saying this to everyone that is watching right now. You deserve all the good things in the world. So I hope you do the meditation in the next video. If you like this, then like the video, give me a thumbs up. Let's engage in the comment section. Share your story. I will respond. Let's engage in a discussion. Subscribe to the channel if you will, and I'll see you in the meditation in the next video. Bye-bye.